It started with laughter. Not mine, hers. The sound came from the living room, sharp and careless, like glass breaking. I didn't mean to listen. I was passing by, carrying a cup of coffee that suddenly felt too heavy to hold. Her voice, my wife's, floated through the half-closed door. "I don't think this silly marriage will last another year. He's falling so far below my level." And then, laughter. A chorus of it, her friends joining in like an audience trained to clap on cue. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I stood there, still as a painting, the coffee cooling in my hands. Falling below her level. That line repeated in my head like a dripping faucet. Every drop a reminder, every echo a wound. Then, quietly, I pushed the door open just enough for her to see me. The laughter froze mid-breath. I smiled. "Why wait a year?" I said. "Let's end it now." I left before she could speak. That night my phone buzzed. A message from her best friend. It said, "You should know. She's been planning this for months." And attached, a picture that made my hands go cold. It was her, my wife, at a bar I didn't recognize. Her lips on another man's neck. Her eyes closed, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in years. I didn't scroll further. I didn't need to. The image was enough. It said everything her mouth never dared to. For a moment, I felt my chest cave in. My throat tightened, but I swallowed it back. The part of me that wanted to scream simply died. I sat there in the dark, the phone glowing against my palm, and thought about how quiet betrayal really is. It doesn't roar, it doesn't break through the door. It whispers, and then it smiles like nothing's wrong. I replayed our dinners, her long silences, the late-night meetings, the perfume that wasn't hers. All the pieces I had ignored finally fell into place. Still, I didn't confront her. I slept beside her that night, my arm around her waist, her breathing slow and trusting. And when she whispered, "Good night," I whispered back, "Good night." But inside, I was already leaving her. Over the next few days, I became a quiet ghost in my own home. I still kissed her goodbye each morning, still texted her reminders, still smiled when she spoke. But behind that calm, I was dissecting every lie she'd ever told. I tracked her phone through our shared account. The same address appeared again and again, a hotel on the west side, room 402. I booked the adjacent room, waited, listened. Laughter again. The same tone I'd heard that night with her friends, only softer now, intimate. I didn't look inside. I didn't need to. Hearing was enough. The betrayal had a rhythm, a breath, a heartbeat. Later, I made copies of her texts. I downloaded photos from the cloud. Every business trip had a location tag. Every excuse had a timestamp. The evidence built quietly, like snow layering over a corpse. And while she thought she was clever, I was building a file so complete it could bury her. The hardest part wasn't discovering her secrets. It was pretending I hadn't. Her smile still brushed against my cheek each morning. Her voice still filled the house. And I kept nodding, listening, answering gently, all while knowing exactly who she was. A week later, I printed everything: emails, photos, screenshots, hotel receipts. I placed them in a brown envelope and left it on the dining table. When she came home, I was waiting, calm, collected, a glass of water in my hand. She looked at the envelope, confused. "What's this?" "You should open it." Her fingers trembled slightly as she pulled out the papers. I watched her face change, from confusion to fear to something like shame. "Where did you... Does it matter?" She dropped the pages, tried to speak. Words fell apart in her mouth. "It's not what it looks like." I smiled faintly. "It's exactly what it looks like." For the first time in months, she couldn't perform. No script, no defense. just the raw, helpless realization that I already knew, and that I wasn't angry, not anymore, because anger meant she still mattered. I told her I'd already filed for divorce that morning. Her eyes widened. "You can't just—" "I already did. You'll ruin everything!" Everything was already ruined. I slid my phone across the table. On the screen, her best friend's message, the photo attached. "She told me before you did." Her lips parted. A flicker of realization flashed behind her eyes. She whispered, almost to herself, "She sent you that?" I nodded once. "You might want to call her. She's not your friend anymore." I stood up, calm, deliberate. "You once said this marriage wouldn't last a year," I reminded her. "You were right." Her face twisted, half guilt, half disbelief. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. "You'll hear from my lawyer." And then I left her there, in the silence she built. I didn't check my phone again, didn't answer her calls, didn't need to. The next day, I drove to the cliffs outside the city, the place we once called ours. I sat there for hours, watching the horizon fold into the sea. The anger was gone, the sadness too. What remained was something colder, clarity. She was never the loss, she was the lesson. And that night, when her best friend texted again, "She's falling apart. She says you didn't even fight for her," I typed one line back. "I don't fight for what's already dead." Then I turned off my phone, and for the first time in years, I felt free. Final line. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is silence, the kind that echoes longer than love ever did.